Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Hey, what's going on, family? This is Shire from No Picks Podcast.
What's up, y'all? This is Joe, No Picks Podcast.
Heather checking in, No Picks Podcast.
Yeah.
All right, so listen, we in this political season right now, right? I saw this clip and I wanted to pull it up to show you guys. This is about our man Vivek. Vivek, say his name for me.
Vivek, you said it.
Yeah, all right, Vivek Veeraswamy, right?
Yeah.
Listen, I don't want to talk too much about the clip. I'm gonna play it about a minute and a half, and I want y'all like genuine reaction to this, all right?
Okay.
That's why I brought on today somebody who I think has some thoughtful perspectives on the future direction of our country, of our conservative movement, and on this question of nationalism and national identity, somebody I've been fascinated by for a long time and have interacted with on social media, but for the first time we're having at least a live form conversation in the offline sense of it. It's Ann Coulter. So Ann, thanks for coming on. And
Oh God, not Ann Coulter.
Me too. Thanks for having me. That was a fantastic opening monologue. I too am a fan of yours. I'm going to make a point of disagreeing with you so that it will be fun. You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory. And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that.
Bruh. So.
Wait, was this on? Did this air? Was this like live?
Yeah, he posted it. Yeah, he actually tweeted about it too. Like Vivek was like, "Okay, I still support her," blah blah blah.
So that's not a joke. This happened.
That's not a joke.
Like
this actually happened during one of his like live streams, and he posted about it. Whatever. So let Heather get the first crack at this, right? Heather, whatever comes to your mind, what are your thoughts initially about this?
First of all, cancel that bitch and she's fired. Like, how dare she? Who does she think? Who? First of all, I don't even know much about this lady. First time I've ever heard of hers right now. I don't even know who this lady is. So who is she, number one? Number two, how dare her say that? Like, who do you think you are that you have the right to tell somebody, like display that act of racism, that act of just, I don't think I've heard like that like discrimination and racism in one sentence, in one presentation or one speech against so many different cultures by one of the most privileged, what looks to be the most privileged white person I've ever seen in my life. And I don't even believe in privilege, but if privilege exists, she's the definition of it. If she doesn't get canceled and fired yesterday, I know something.
That's why I don't think she will. My reaction when I saw her face was like, "Oh my God, Ann Coulter!" I was like, "What is about to happen right now?" Because she's said a lot of controversial things. She's held a lot of controversial positions. She's definitely conservative. She's definitely Republican. But she's one of those people that I feel like is far on the deep end, like that crazy radical kind of nationalist, like the types that were just like, they're part of the base, but we don't really like to highlight that part of the base. But unfortunately, they're still there. She's a part of that wing, right? But Heather, I agree with Heather.
Sorry.
I don't understand. Like, my initial reaction is, or not even a reaction, but like kind of like a question. Well, I have a question, right? So Ty, I'm curious to see what you think about it because I agree with Heather, but I have a question about this thing. But what did you feel about this, bro? Like,
I mean, I think that's the absolute definition of racism. Like,
it's blatant, right? There's no way to spin this.
There's no way to spin it. Like, you agree with his policies. You think that he's one of the brightest dudes, blah, blah, but you only wouldn't have voted for him because he's Indian.
Because he's Indian, right.
And the derogatory comments you said about black people, are you fucking serious? They're not articulate? Bitch, everybody's more articulate than you, ho. Like... Everybody. My motherfucking dog is more articulate than you, and I don't even got a dog, okay? Like, my broken doorknob is of better use than you. Oh, I cannot believe her. I cannot believe her.
But the thing is, you know, Joe. Heather says she never heard of her before, but you know, she's a big deal in the Republican Party. Like
She is.
She speaks at CPAC. She speaks for presidential candidates all the fucking time.
She spoke for the teabaggers when the teabaggers were doing their thing. Like, remember the teabaggers?
She's very well known in that political realm type shit. Like she goes hard.
Right. She better get
very smart. She says she's
not.
But I've never seen her kind of as blatantly like pull her own card in that way. Like normally she's better at doing it. She can disguise that a little bit better.
I see what you're saying.
But this was just like really because listen, she said when the whole Kansas City shit happened, right? When the black people, those three black dudes they did the shooting in Kansas City when the Kansas City Chief won the Super Bowl. She was the one that was on Bill Maher's show saying, "Well, I know he's not white," and Bill Maher's like, "How you know he's not white?" It's like he's not white because if he was white, his name will be known. Their names will be known through the media. And they were like, "Oh, well, you think you you got a crystal ball, blah blah." He's trying to make fun of her and shit. But it turned out she was fucking right. The people end up not being white; they end up being black, actually. So
that's just saying blacks are better athletes.
Views.
That's just saying blacks are better athletes, and I tend to agree on that. So
it depends on the sport, right?
I mean, for the most, it depends on the sport. But if we're talking football, we're talking like basketball. I think they take the dub. They take the dub.
Yeah, because like Mexicans, they probably got boxing. You know what I'm saying? Like it just depends
soccer.
on the sport.
Yeah. They got soccer.
Maybe Dominicans or baseball. I'm not sure who's killing it in the baseball field, but
right.
But all right. So this is my question. I have two questions, but now you made me think about another question. So I'm gonna have to rewind into the Republican side right now because they're the biggest ones. They're the ones who are against DEI, right? Diversity, something. It's like hiring,
equity and inclusion.
Yeah, right. So they're the biggest, one of the biggest opponents of DEI, and I kind of agree with them because in my opinion, it should be who is the best person for the job. Doesn't matter their gender, their race, whatever. Are they qualified? Can they do that job well? Right.
Right.
That being the case, we just heard from a Republican, right? Self-identified conservative and Republican. I know she's on the batshit crazy end, but I'm just saying, how hypocritical is that? Is that you guys are saying you want it doesn't matter what a person's color, gender, whatever. I want the best person for that job. And here you said that this person is articulate. He is. Vivek is extremely intelligent. He's very articulate. He was killing it in the debates. He was grilling into Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, grilling into the Warhawks who were saying we're gonna go bomb Ukraine. Like I loved him. I loved him. I love that he was used like his interviews. He answered the questions well. He was sharp. He knew why he was voting for Trump. He knew why January 6th was BS and why it was all crap. You know what I'm saying? Like he's so articulate. But she won't vote for him because he's Indian.
That's right.
So didn't you guys say that race doesn't matter? Race doesn't matter if who's the best qualified person for the job. But yet, do you see the contradiction, the hypocrisy with that statement? It blows my mind. It blows my mind. Yeah, but y'all the biggest one talking about we're not going to hire based on race or this and this and that, but you won't vote for him because he's Indian. I find that very hypocritical. Like not on the whole party, of course, but as far as Ann Coulter and her politics, I don't understand. I don't understand the cognitive dissonance. I don't understand how she gets to that place. But that's wild. So I guess my question is like, do you think that because Trump just had a rally in Jersey, 100,000 plus people were there.
In Jersey. He's
Jersey.
President, bro. He's gonna be president.
I think he was in Wildwood too. I think they were in Wildwood. 100,000 people came out. Listen, Trump has energy right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, so my question is, do you think that, and I might be left field, but like, do you think that Trump's presidency and all the people who support him and those pockets of his supporters that we don't like to talk about because sometimes they're just blatantly bigoted or just like misinformed, do you think that Trump has made people more comfortable to speak this freely? Is my question. Do you think he's created an environment where people feel like they can speak more freely like this?
I don't think that has anything to do with Trump. I think that's just her showing her true racist piece of shit self in live color. And I speak on behalf of all of the Republican Party when I say we don't claim her and she's not part of us. When she comes out here talking like that, she doesn't represent us. Let me be clear when I say that. No, sir. No, thank you. No, ma'am. No ham. No bacon. No. She doesn't because of that. No, I don't think that Trump's, I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think that's just her showing her true color. And if, like I said, privilege had had a definition, she would be the perfect image for it. No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't. No, I think that she spoke exactly how she intended to speak and showing of her truth. Because she took the layers off, like she peeled her whole mask off. She exposed herself. Trump ain't got nothing to do with that. But if Trump did influence that, then thank you for allowing and giving her the confidence that she needed to be herself, so we can cancel her, get her the fuck out of here.
And the reason I brought up Trump, right? And I'm not saying that he's at fault for this. What I'm saying is, as far as the environment that we're in, right? Because think about some of his voting base, right? Some of the MAGA voters were the people who were going through, marching through towns, talking about the Jews will not replace us, right? They were walking around with tiki torches, talking about the Jews will not replace us. They were supporting Take America Back, Make America Great Again. He initially, Trump had hired, I forget his name now, but remember his the person who was in his administration, he was a huge nationalist, right? He was really big into like what was the bull's name? Remember he got fired.
Miller, was it?
The white bull. What was his name? I can't remember
his name. I think he was like was he balding? Not bald, but he was like balding.
Yeah. Right. But remember, he was a huge nationalist. And very controversial views. Trump has referred to certain cities as shitholes. You know what I mean? Like certain underdeveloped countries as shitholes. Like a lot of people are with him because they want to get, take America back. And what does that mean? How do we take America back? From who? Who took it? You know what I'm saying? So like these are part of the people who are in his base. That's why I asked, do you think that Trump has made people more comfortable speaking this freely? That's why I'm not saying he's at fault, because people have their own minds and make their own decisions, right? But I'm saying, did he make this environment where people can speak more loosely and freely this way to a person who was running to be president? This person was running to be president.
Right. So let me say, I got two different opinions on this, right? I agree with Heather when she says, Ann Coulter just did what Ann Coulter does, right? This is like, but because they don't like each other either. Ann Coulter and Trump go at it publicly. Like Ann Coulter don't like Trump, Trump don't like Ann Coulter, and they go at it. So it's like, okay, cool. But I also acknowledge that Trump also has that base that that will support him, and they hate everybody that don't look like him, right? But that's obvious. That has been the case for forever. But so to answer your question on the other end, so my job, not my 9-to-5 job, right? I work for the Social Security Administration. I'll say this because we joke about this shit all the time in my office, right? Bro, when Trump was president, there were certain white people, not all of them, 99% of the white people that come into my office, most of them are Italian, right? But they're all super cool, right? They're like 99% of them are cool. But during Trump's presidency, you would get some very, very cocky random white people coming in just being like, oh, this is our country. Fuck all you Asians. Fuck, like, they used to talk crazy, bro. And it was like, they would be like, yo, we taking our motherfucking country back. But it was a very small, uneducated, kind of slow on a spectrum type motherfuckers. Like that people that, you know what I mean? It wasn't like regular white people going, like going to Starbucks and being like, yo, let me get my Sapacrapa latte,
right?
Sperm in there, all that type of shit. Like he was probably like, he patched blue ribbon, spend all his Social Security check on beer. He probably lived in his mom's basement. And there's certain people that I'm talking about, but they were very low hanging fruit type shit that you can point to and be like, these people, they obviously support Trump. And they did, but it wasn't most of the regular everyday white person coming in was like regular, right? But it was just like these people that just, it was just coming in, just trying to start shit. And just, you could just tell they were like, yo, like, we don't like you Mexicans. We don't like you, you blacks and all this shit. And I remember because in my office in particular, right, there's no white people actually, because the only white person retired, right? She retired during that time. And so there's only black people and Hispanic people, right? So he comes in one time during that time, and he was like, yo, when Trump was president, he was like, yo, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to no. I only want to talk to somebody white. And there was one chick that's Puerto Rican that kind of could pass as white. Or I was like, well, you can talk to her. You can talk to Maria if you want, but like that's close you gonna get.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, fuck it, I'll take what I can get type shit. And he ended up getting banned from the office. And our manager was white dude or whatever. And he was like, hey, you ain't gonna talk to my people like that. He went hard or whatever. My point is, yes, to answer your question, yes, there is a segment of the Republican white people that will go hard and be like, oh, we want our country back, we want our jobs back and all that shit. But it's not the normal everyday white person that you see. It's already like kind of like the lower end,
on their way out. On their way out.
Yeah, on the way, or like
bucket.
But
like Joe Dirt kind of white dude. You seen Joe Dirt, right? Like the Joe Dirt kind of white dude, like you know what I mean, like that dude. But yeah,
That's interesting. I remember when they were asking someone, they were at different rallies when Trump was like first running and all that. He had all the energy behind him in his first political campaign trail, and they were asking people like, okay, so you want to make America great again? So he was asking people like, what year was that? What decade do you think America was great? And most of the answers were like 1935, 1945. And in my mind, I'm like, in that decade, Heather couldn't have property, couldn't have a bank account, couldn't vote. We couldn't have that shit. So I'm like, they want to go back to a time where it's just like, okay, like what made it so great? Was it because like some certain demographics of people had less rights, we were more oppressed, Jim Crow was a thing, like there was no women's suffrage, LGBTQ didn't have as many freedoms, you know what I mean? Like I'm just confused as to like I don't know. So those are the people that you said like, and Trump has said, I love my uneducated voters. He said this at his rallies. I remember this. He was like, I love my uneducated voters, and I'm like, well, yeah, because they're just low hanging fruit. You can dupe them and make them believe anything. So, yeah, I'm not trying to pick a bone with the Republicans, but I know the Democrats have made it an environment where like the alphabet community has gone rampant. All these isms, identity politics, like they have created something too. Cancel culture, snowflake culture, which is what I call it. Like the Democrats have created that, right? But I also know that on the other end,
I would argue it's just as bad. It's pretty bad, bro. Like
you know what I'm saying? Like both parties
Yeah.
have things where I'm like, yo, y'all tripping right now with like some of these views that you guys are allowing. So I just want to ask that, but nah, bro, this was foul, man. And like I said, it's hypocritical for any conservative who feels this way. Like if you guys are so big on like hiring the best person for the job, you are contradicting your belief.
Yeah.
Like I said, she's not one of us though. She ain't one of us. She
Yeah.
ain't one of us.
I wouldn't
You're
even claim
right. You're
Shorty
right.
either,
She ain't
right?
one of, yeah, she ain't
I
one
wouldn't
of
claim
us.
Shorty either.
Mm-mm.
Damn, bro.
She need to be stripped. She shouldn't even be able to vote.
I always fucked with Ann Coulter. I ain't gonna lie, but this was kind of like, goddamn, like bitch, maybe I was tripping. Maybe he was saying some shit that I wasn't smart enough to understand at the time, type of shit. And you was really insulting my ass, but
you even said it yourself. You said the way she's done it in the past, you're smart enough. You're a smart guy. You're smart enough to dissect and pull the layers back of what she was intentionally or intending to say. And you may not have realized it in that moment, but in hindsight, look back and re-listen to that shit. You got it. You know, because now you know. You can't unknow. Now you'll peel back all the layers of what her previous messages were and be like, this bitch been saying this. We just been so blinded by her we'll call it a word salad. The way she presents it out to the world. It sounds pretty and it's all fluffy and warm. This is the first time she pulled back all the layers and just let it out for what it was, with no kind, fluffy words in it. Maybe I don't know. I'll find out. I'm gonna do some research on it. But that's what it sounds like.
Assume. No. So, and I agree with you. And I would assume that Obama's presidency really didn't sit well with her because you had a half Kenyan brother, you know what I mean? Like running for president, holding political office. I would assume
she was on Obama's ass. She was on his ass.
I would assume she didn't approve of that presidency either. Even though he did so much for Wall Street and the corporate elite and for the war machine, like he voted, he was pretty much a part of the establishment. Obama didn't deviate from that at all, that much. You know what I mean? Like he was pretty much on par with that. So he still acted like a regular like Republican or Democrat, like so. But yeah, I don't think she would have approved of that either.
No, and for the mere fact of what, let's just say it for what it is. Why would she not vote for a support of Barack Obama? The one reason only.
Black.
He's black. Black. That's it. We heard it straight from her mouth. Like she wouldn't vote for Vivek because he's Indian. I mean, she leads us to believe nothing else to be different.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
it's crazy.
Tell us what y'all think. Listen, we love some comments on this. We love a discussion on this. This is kind of wild. I feel like we all three of us had basically the same opinion. Listen, like, comment, subscribe. Listen, we're gonna keep hitting y'all with these jewels of wisdom. And until next time.
I love it. Jewels of wisdom. Till next time.